The story of the Zodiac Killer is one of the most notorious unsolved murder mysteries in the last century. Of the 38 speculated murders, only 5 were actually confirmed. In December of 1968, Darren Faraday and Betty Lou were shot and killed in their car in Vallejo, California. In July of 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Magoo were shot in Blue Rock Springs Park. In September of 1969, Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell were shot executioner-style while picnicking in Lake Berryessa, Napa, California. In October of 1969, Paul Stein, a cab driver, was shot in the head and killed in San Francisco, California.
Some say the Zodiac Killer was the embodiment of evil, and for many, grasping the concept of evil has been troubling. One way to understand evil is by looking through the minds of 4 very prominent philosophers: Plato, Aristotle, Lucretius, and Seneca, who each have their own perspectives on evil. In this very unique instance, these 4 philosophers have agreed to interview the Zodiac himself.
The events depicted in the interview are fictitious. These philosophers are long dead. No one has ever interviewed the Zodiac. In fact, the case is still open today. This interview is a dramatization of the 5 characters and is our own interpretation, and also is based on the premise that the main suspect, Arthur Lee Allen, is the Zodiac Killer. We are not speaking on anybody's behalf. Viewer discretion is advised.
From my understanding, I believe you are acting out of bestial desires, perhaps derived from the belly of the beast. The beast has clearly taken over your soul. Your soul is driven by physical pleasure, and you are struggling to manage the beast inside of you. When did you first come to the realization that you found pleasure in killing people?
I found this realization when I first shot and killed that repulsive young couple out in Vallejo, and the sensation of taking their lives ultimately created my desire to acquire slaves for my paradise.
Paradise? What do you mean?
My afterlife.
Under no circumstance will killing humans ever create a paradise. Due to your ignorance and lack of ability to tame the beast, I hope you can understand that these sins will carry over into your afterlife. Your soul will become infected forever, as ignorance is the root and stem of all evil.
I believe that if you really want to reach your paradise, you need to redefine your ways and focus on achieving the golden mean of virtue. You obviously kill out of sadistic impulses when you should help others out of sympathy.
Sympathy? Where was my parents' sympathy when they chose to beat me? I hated my mother growing up, and I felt inferior around my father, who was an aggressive military man. They never taught me a life of virtue, but only a life of neglect. They never showed me mercy, and they were apathetic to my pain. Sympathy doesn't exist in my world.
Although your parents have done you injustice, you can change your life if you tone it down. With the help of education and better socialization, you can rid yourself of this viciousness that controls you and truly reach a paradise for a virtuous man.
Very interesting. Epicureans also believe that everything that happens within our universe is subject to the clinamen, which is the Latin term for the swerve. The clinamen is the idea that all matter in the universe is comprised of atoms, and those atoms randomly create the actions that happen in our reality. The reality that we, as humans, observe is the random chance of what we call the swerve. If everything happens by chance, either good or bad, I would not define your actions as evil, but rather a byproduct of the swerve.
I disagree. I think evil is a tangible thing with wavelengths, just as sound and light have. Though my actions do contribute to what you would call the swerve, my killings were only intended to dissociate myself from this world. I don't believe that everything is random chance. Again, hunting humans is much more difficult than hunting wild animals because they can't fend for themselves. Hunting humans takes time, precision, and planning in order to execute.
I guess you're just the prime example of a swerve. Atoms do make the world go round.
As a Stoic, we believe that evil derives from passion or passionate desires. Earlier in your interviews, you mentioned that you kill in order to reap souls for your future paradise in the afterlife. Under the assumption that passion is the root of all evil, would you define yourself as evil because you encompass a strong passion for killing?
I have never questioned if I was evil before, but under those premises, I would agree that I could be considered evil because I often act out of my passion for killing and the rewards I will be reaping in my paradise. The most dangerous game really captivated my passion, and I even told one of my friends that I was fascinated by the idea of killing people. And like I said before, I believe that killing humans is more challenging since humans are more intelligent. I guess this fascination with the act of killing can be considered evil. Well, I hope to see you as my slaves in my afterlife.